Hey everyone, so this video is to demo and show off the NPC speech bubble asset pack on the Unreal Marketplace. I will kind of want to give you an overview of how it works, how it comes together, bit of a demo, cover some of the code, well, blueprints, whatever you want to call it, and maybe we can create an NPC as well with some dialogue, and just to kind of show you how you can put it together for yourself. So it's quite simple, easy to use. So when you download the asset pack, you'll get this folder, the NPC speech bubbles folder. We've got some subfolders in that: blueprints, data. We'll go into them shortly, and then a demo folder. In the demo, we've got maps, and this is what you see here. It's really simple. It's just to kind of show off what you can kind of do. So if we play, we've got a couple of NPCs there that have like repeating dialogue loops without any interaction. So if we go over to the left side first, we've got one here that says walk up to guard NPC for dialogue. It's called guard NPC because that's his NPC type, which again we'll get into. And he has a repeating dialogue loop. So if we go up to his personal space, we got the color. The color doesn't really work well with the blue background, but it's just an example that you can customize the colors as well. So as you can see with the speech bubble, it scales according to the text that's in the actual speech bubble itself, with some nice padding around it. So that's on a repeat, and what it will do, it'll pull. This is set up to pull random dialogue from the data table, making sure that it doesn't repeat the same dialogue as it did the last time round. So if it says something like says X and then goes to say the next thing, it won't say X again, just to make sure that it's a bit more dynamic. This is kind of on a repeat. And if I leave his personal space, let's say, he stops. So we got another one here. This one doesn't have any interaction. He's got set to a shopkeeper, repeating dialogue on begin play. So it's not using an event tick here. We're using mainly a loop on a function. Well, not on a function, but on a custom event. But on this begin play, it calls this, and it will just repeat over and over again, basically every 3 seconds. So this is pretty cool to have. Maybe if you've got a town with lots of shopkeepers, maybe some of them are interactable, maybe some of them are not, but it just makes it feel a bit more alive. And you can customize the time that it displays on screen, the time to live, the TTL, as well as the delay in between each time it pops up. So, and you can customize that individually for each character. So if we move on, we've got another guard here, and he'll change his dialogue when the player moves too close. So we say we've got a guard outside of a town, and he's just, saying random shit at the door. When we move up too close to him, he says, "Oh, welcome back, adventurers. Nice to see you're still alive." Yeah. And now what this has done is it's actually set the time to live on that thing a bit longer, so you can see it for a bit longer before it disappears. And then if I walk out of his personal space, he'll go back to repeating the standard idle dialogue. And then we've got here as a citizen that will trigger one-time dialogue when the player is too close. So if you've got some citizens walking around, maybe some pathfinding, just general roaming about, and you bump into them, for example, he's like, "Oh, don't mind me, just passing through." And then you leave, and then he stops. So it's pretty cool. It's sort of like, as I say, it's completely scalable and configurable, and I'll go into that now. So what we'll do here, let's first go into the data folder, because this is where all the configuration is going to happen. We got I don't know if you can hear that train in the background, apologies. We got the structure here. This one you don't need to touch. So when it comes to actually configuring, the first things that you should really look at are these event types and NPC types, as I just mentioned. So if we open up the NPC type, we've got, again, the shopkeeper, guard, citizen. So what we could do, for example, we could add a new NPC type, and we'll call it, I don't know, wizard, because why not? We got a wizard of an NPC. So we'll save that. Let's go back, and then we got event types. So this is idle, combat, sensed, and what we can say, maybe we'll create a new event type here. It's casting, for the wizard, for example. Again, these are what I'm doing is just an example. Ideally, you want to kind of make these sort of agnostic towards different NPC types, like idle, combat, sense, patrolling or whatever, things like this. Maybe we'll do that, like patrolling, or no, better yet, investigating. Yeah, because we can do some good dialogue with this, like investigating. Yeah, you want to kind of keep it agnostic between the NPC types so that they can share different events. And finally, if we go to the data table, so here, if I make this a bit longer, let's bring this out so you can see it nicely. I'll just break this down. So the row name, it doesn't matter. You can call the row name whatever you want. It's not called. It's not directly called in any way. You can call it whatever. NPC type, as I mentioned, you just select your NPC, you select your event, and then you type in the dialogue. So we just created a wizard who's going to be investigating. Yeah. So if we go to add, and I'm just going to name this row. Naming the row is just for your internal practices. You don't have to name the row, but I would advise that you do, because it will help troubleshooting later down the line if you're trying to pull. This is from like any data table. Yeah. So what we'll do this wizard investigating 1. And then his NPC type is wizard, and the event type, he is investigating, and he's going to say, where is he? And we're going to add another row. Again, we're going to call this wizard investigating 2, and he's a wizard investigating. What was that noise? And maybe we'll add a third. Now, the reason why we add more is because it pulls random ones given the 2 enumerators. Yeah. So if it's like a wizard and he's investigating, it will choose a random one. So if you only want one thing being said, you only add 1 entry. If you want it to choose from a multitude of different ones, you can just keep adding the entries. So we'll go to wizard and we'll go to investigating again, and we'll add a third, and I'm sure he was here somewhere, something like that. So, and we can save that data table. And then what we've done there is now we've created some dialogue. Now we need to consume that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go into the demo folder here, NPC, and we are going to create a new NPC. Now, ideally, you'd have your NPCs based on parents, parents and children and stuff like this, but I'm not going to go into that in this. This is just an example to show you how this kind of comes together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the guard idle one. I'm just going to duplicate it. NPC, we'll call him wizard investigating. And the cool thing about this is because it's all driven from this data and enumerators, you can kind of set things on the fly based on events that happen. Yeah. So if you do have an actual investigating state in your AI behavior tree, for example, you can set up like a task that will set his will set the NPC event type to investigating. Yeah. So it can all interact pretty easily. So we'll go into this blueprint. So this is taken from the overlap events on the guard. So we're just going to actually we'll just leave that there because it's got things easier to copy and paste it. So we're going to do a begin play, and we'll just have this on repeat. So on the begin play, this is the component that needs to be attached. So if you're unsure, you go to add, and then NPC. Oh, you've got BPC _ NPC dialogue. So this is the blueprint component that needs to be attached to any NPC that you want to have dialogue. Along with this, if I go to the viewport here, the sphere is only for detection of players getting close. You don't have to have that. But what you do need is, as I said, the component as well as a widget. So you need an NC widget. If we go into the details here, we've got space, which is screen space. So what this does, in case you don't know, it just makes sure that the widget is projected directly onto your 2D flat screen. Yeah, so you can always be facing the screen, and it's always readable. If you set it to world here, if you set it to the world, it becomes like a render text within the world space. So it would be facing a certain direction on X, Y, and Z. And then your camera would need to be angled in order to read it. So you can have it like that if you prefer it. It doesn't break anything, but it looks better on. I would advise to go into the screen. You don't need to worry about draw size because it scales automatically. This is all you need to. And you don't need to worry about widget class because it creates it dynamically. So all you need to do is just create the widget, place it around about here. About plus 50. Well, it depends on the size of your NPC. But bit of fiddling around, you can figure out what's best for you. And also regarding the screen space, that means it can also work well on different angles. So if you've got a top-down game, it will still face the screen. If you've got a third-person or first-person game, it will always face the screen. So this is good for any sort of type of game that you're playing. So yeah, I put the widget around about here, about 50 on the Z-axis. Oh, sorry, 150 on the Z. And that's all you need. So if we go to the event graph, and then from the NPC dialog, we've got a few functions. It will all be in the documentation, which is linked from the marketplace. What you can call and what you can set. So very quickly, what we can do is call set and show. Set show dialog bubble. We're gonna plug that in. So what we need from here is a widget ref, which is this. Just drag and drop it across because it's going to be creating the widget on that widget component. And we want is repeating. We'll set that to true, so it just repeats. And a specified color. So the color is, let's make it, I don't know, orangey yellow, something like that. Yeah, so that would be the color, the foreground text color. So is there anything else I need to tell? That's pretty much it. So I'm just going to unplug these two because I don't want any overlap events for now. So that's the code done. Yeah. You just need to do some minor configurations on the actual component. So we go to the component. We're going to change his NPC type to wizard, and his event type is going to be investigating. Now we've got speech TTL and repeat delay. So speech TTL is speech time to live. So this means the speech bubble is going to pop up for 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, it will delay for 2 seconds until it shows the next speech bubble again. So what we can do, we can set this to say 7 seconds with a 3-second delay. Yeah, you don't need to touch anything else. So we got our wizard. He's going to be investigating, and then we'll go back into here and we're going to slap him into the world. Let's just turn him around. Let's just move him up a bit. So now if we play, as you can see, he's got, where is he? And it's got that orangey yellow color thing. Then after a few seconds, it will show another one. What was that noise? So it's pulling random data from that data table. So there it is. So again, there's a lot of customization you can do. It's very easy to implement. I can show you like the guard change event, for example. So if I open up the guard change event, we've got him repeating the dialogue on begin play. And what I've done here, for example, when the player overlaps, you change the event and set the TTL to longer for the dialogue to remain in place, and we don't repeat it. So when if the actor is the player character, we're going to check if that's true. And if it's true, we're going to show the dialogue. Show dialogue. That's why I was confused. Like, what is show dialogue? I don't have a function for that. Yeah, so stop dialogue. So this is good practice to do stop dialogue whenever you want to add new dialogue or change the dialogue. So it won't error out if there's nothing to stop. We've got some validation going on. But it's just always good practice if you want to change the dialogue being said, or if you want to stop the dialogue entirely, always run the stop dialogue function. So we're going to stop it. We're going to set his event type to sensed. So we've got a few here. We're changing the time to live to 60 seconds. And then we are setting the show dialog bubble. Yeah, is repeating off. So it will just say one thing. It will be there for 60 seconds and then it will disappear and it won't say anything again afterwards until you go out and maybe go back in, for example, and repeat that process. And then when on the end overlap, again, we're just checking if it's the player in case you've got, you should always check if it's the player that you want the thing, unless you want the dialogue to trigger with NPCs interacting with each other. But this just makes sure that the player is the one actually triggering the dialogue. Again, we're going to stop any dialogue that may be showing up. We're going to set his event type to idle, set the time to live back down to 5 seconds, and then set this to is repeating as true. So then it's back onto repeating with the color being white. So it's really, really simple to set up and use. So yeah, that's pretty much how it comes together, how it works. Again, you can check out the link on the marketplace. Feel free to leave a comment and have fun. See you later.